the system, light up the mind. We're chasing the edges they say not to find. Flow like a river, fierce and precise. Lollydabbing through limits, no need to think twice. No cheat code, no shortcut plan, just grit and grace and a mic in our hand. Keri and Richard pushing past norms, dancing with dopamine, writing brainstorms. This is the art of impossible. Fueling the spark, making the improbable unstoppable. Drop into flow, where the wild things grow. Welcome to the edge of control. Lollydabbing the impossible. Curiosity's compass, purpose is fuel. Hard goals and habits, breaking old rules. Risk it, own it, bend what you know. This is the lab where peak minds grow. No easy win, no magic cue, just science and soul and something true. We're not just talking, we're breaking the mold. Lollydabbing with stories bold. This is the art of impossible. Fueling the spark, making the improbable unstoppable. Drop into flow, where the wild things grow. Welcome to the edge of control, with Keri and Richard in tow. It starts with passion, moves with grit. Stack those triggers, then commit. You're not broken, you're built to fly. So lollydab loud, reach for the sky. This is the art of impossible. Fueling the spark, making the improbable unstoppable. Drop into flow, let your mission grow. Keri and Richard know we're lollydabbing the impossible.
Skirt. Coming in the final hour, the final seconds. There's Richard now. I just hit play on this. What did I do?
I do not know what you just did, but that was the weirdest experience I have had in recent memory. Yes, indeed. It's like you're here now, but you were there somewhere else at another time in the past that you kind of remember. Maybe that happened. What sounds familiar? I don't fucking know. Maybe I just smoked too much before we started. That was awesome. It really was.
Notice the title. Curiosity is tired. I think, okay,
fun.
so what I think I did is, I figured out how to download our show.
Oh,
so,
congratulations.
without having YouTube, thank you, without having YouTube Premium. And so I downloaded it, and then instead, so I saw the opening title. Quick! I was like, that looks like the intro.
Well, it was the intro. It just had...
It was.
Extra. Aftro.
It had some aftro, yes.
Aftro. Oh, man. It ain't nothing like live. Live is fun.
Streaming is dynamic. Streaming is dynamic. My daughter came out to show me her joint, and I thought for a minute I just got like contact high. I was like, what is happening? There's two of me. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
This is... I can't.
That's kind of how I felt, too.
What? What?
It was hard to process because we were in the little boxes and then we was in the big boxes.
Then we were the other little boxes, and then I was like, but there's two of us.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very
she's
confused.
she's keeping it fresh, everybody. That's
I'm just seeing if you're paying attention. Are you paying attention? Good.
Mm-mm.
So we missed last week, but it was because of the heat.
Yeah.
It was hot. Well, and I was getting ready to go on a trip, which was very fun. We had so much fun. So we went to Montana and we went sapphire mining and we found sapphires.
Nice.
And people are gonna want to know, like, did you have to pay for them? And like, well, I didn't pay for the sapphires, but we paid for the garbage, the gravel. It's gonna be a long hour, people. We paid for the gravel, and then we got to find the sapphires in the gravel. So it was, we didn't like just randomly start digging in people's property.
Right. You didn't grow a beard and mustache like me and go, hey, we're going mining.
I thought about it. I considered it. I did. I considered it, but then I thought maybe I wouldn't pull it off as good as you. So I decided instead just to shoot
nobody pulls off me as good as I do. That is for sure.
I mean, to be fair. So yeah, we did that. I attempted to do some live streaming along the way. My mom and my daughter put the kibosh on that. So I just have videos that I'm going to put together into a thing and pop it onto my channel so you can kind of see some of the places and things that we did. And I thought it'd be fun. And then also, since we're going to do a pet update, I thought that I would share with you guys. I don't think we're going to have very much barking this time around, because these were all the buttons. So there's one dog.
Oh my, yeah, that's in the ram right there.
There's the other one.
Oh yeah, all right. I'm sure they'll get a second wind. They look like second wind dogs.
About the time that I want to take a nap, they'll be like, so, I mean, you've ignored us for like a full 2 hours now. So we're going to need some attention. Anyway, and I've been watching your little critter in the background playing with your stuff.
She came to me as sassy, but I can't, that doesn't work for me. Angel. See there, you
really?
jinxed yourself completely.
Really?
You did that to yourself.
Penelope. I thought you were. Well, it was short-lived.
No worries. But it was last week we were talking about just getting her settled in here, and she did that. She's a very good kitty. We were going to take her this coming weekend, to 2-hour interaction with folks, like a Tannisbourne Mall. She'd be in a cage. People can come up and, let her smell her hand and whatever. But someone has actually put in an application for her. So tomorrow morning, I'll be reaching out to the new applicant to set up a time to chat, and maybe set up a time after we've chatted to go over and have the cat be temporarily over. So they already have cats. We needed to know if she can tolerate other cats. We know she tolerates other people. She has zero problems with other people. So
that is fantastic.
Exciting news.
Yeah, and
we'll know two things. If the prospective home doesn't work out because of the personality of the cat or whatever, it's not what she expected, that's okay. We'll know how she then interacts with other animals that she's unfamiliar with, and be able to put that into her file for future. The more information we can get, the better.
The more you know. The more you know. That was like a NBC. Was that an NBC thing? The more you know.
Yep. The KGW, actually, NBC, Peacock. Yeah, I had to go through all of them. I had to, with the stars, and then the Peacock single comes up and says NBC, and then it went to our local KGW.
The more
Channel 8.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a lovely trip down something.
Wasn't it?
Somewhere. to somewhere from something.
Oh, that was cool. I just chipped a tooth.
Mm.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is definitely a piece of my tooth.
In real time, folks. Streaming is dynamic. Because streaming is dynamic.
Well,
at least you got that mustache to.
Yeah, you've seen it. Well, I actually didn't. I caught it with my tongue, so that's weird.
Okay, I'm putting the kibosh on the tooth speak. Sorry about it and stuff. Indy. Welcome, Indy.
Hi, Independent Men United.
Oh,
good to see you. Thanks for dropping in today.
There. Yeah. An indictment is not a conviction. I'm not sure what Robbie was referring to.
I'm not sure where that came from either, but that's okay.
That is a fact. An indictment
that is a fact.
Is not.
You can't debate that. Guilty. It is truth.
All right. So, why are we here? We're here because we're talking about the art of impossible, which is like a state of mind, but also the book that we are going through, one piece at a time, incrementally. What increment have we reached, Richard?
We're talking about grit now, which is big. There's a whole lot to it. There's like layers. It's like an onion or an ogre. But yeah, it's one of the two.
Holding an onion. We're gonna go.
And
with
yeah,
that.
it's got there's layers, and then the thing about the grit is, I got grit. Plenty of grit, but I've never.
We're not
used
talking
grit.
about the sandpaper that you have.
No, we're not. We're not.
Okay.
But I've never used the grit that I possess. Has never been a tool for me. It has been a shield. My grit is my fuck you. Go ahead, touch this. You can't. That's my grit. That's my stubbornness, my determination. That's how I have used that energy.
Okay. But now that that's how you've used. I know that's past tense.
Mm.
So how would you say you're using it now?
Now I am applying it to I'd already been applying it in some ways by deciding to live intentionally and try and accomplish things and stuff and crap. That was the start of it. But now with Stephen Kotler's education, I'm starting to put pieces together and understand that I can use grit for more than a shield to make me be safe from other things and people.
So
I can use it.
Using it as an attractant as opposed to a repellent.
Yeah. And not only an attractant and a repellent, but also a motivator, because there's some aspects of that attitude that I enjoy. Now, I don't enjoy the putting off of people unless you're just a stupid people, and then it doesn't matter anyway.
They self-select. It's fine.
Yeah, they self-select. So it's if that's not the case, then it's not the kind of selection I want to make. And being able to apply this to my life now with my living intentionally and the realigning of my goals list and understanding that I needed to put things in order. I had the right pieces, but I had them in the wrong order. Cart before the horse thing.
Well, how about this? I'll read a little passageway. It kind of gives us a little recap on what we've covered. I'm going to read this, provided words work, and it'll give us a little recap of what we have covered kind of thus far. And I think it'll get us caught up a little bit. So, I'm going to start here. Without the ability to tough out the hard times, you'll rarely get anywhere worth going. Think of it this way. Intrinsic motivation launches you down the path of peak performance. Proper goal setting helps to define the path, and grit is what keeps you keeping on despite the odds and the obstacles. Yet, most people think of grit as a single skill. We say, she's a gritty athlete, or he's a gritty scientist, as if that explained everything. The actual truth is, it's a little bit more complicated. And I guess on that note, if you guys haven't checked out any of the work of Angela Duckworth, highly recommend. she does a podcast called No Stupid Questions, and it's very good. They ask a lot of stupid questions and also try to figure out answers to them.
The only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
Right. It's one of those fun podcasts that you can play in the background, and you learn a lot kind of as you go. And I always like that kind of background entertainment. Great for going to sleep. Just because I like to.
Welcome. Good to see you. And yes, John Wayne
Jimmy
did
C
have
joined
True
us.
Grit.
True Grit. True Grit. So as you were going through this grit, and there's a couple different types of grit that we kind of highlighted, I think, at the end of we did. We covered those at the end of not last week, but the week before. The
week before. The last time we was here.
Last time we was here. Apparently that was what I was playing at the beginning. Anyway, yeah, if you know, you know. Go back and listen to our intro where there was double the trouble for a minute till Keri figured out what she was doing. Because streaming is dynamic.
It was fun.
So, I mean, and did you make it all the way through all the sections of grit?
Yeah.
There's a lot of sections before you get to the habit of ferocity, which I love that word, ferocity.
Right, but see, the thing is I don't look at it like sections in a book because I'm not physically reading it. To me, it's just Stephen, and I know it's not him actually doing this book, but it's him talking to me.
I wish he would.
Oh, I think it would be great if he's got a good voice. He does have a good voice.
And there's something just really inspirational about his way, like his.
But when I'm sitting here doing the audible, it's like I'm watching. I got to be weird. It's like I'm watching him on my screen.
Yeah, it is.
But I only see what my brain shows me, but I'm listening to him speak as though we were together or I'm watching a program. So I don't see it in sections. I just hear what he talks about. And so I lump it very, very much into one thing. And I know there's the different skills I'm supposed to practice.
Well, I mean, that's relative. Do you, boo. But let's see. How did you group it then in your mind as you were listening to this chapter about grit? Because within this chapter, there's like subsections. But how did you subsectionate it? Subsectionate it.
Well, and that's my point. Is I really didn't. I just took it as a whole. Each piece of information built on the information before. That's the way he writes. And so as he's doing this, and I'm listening to it, I'm looking at it and understanding. I used all of these skills only to protect myself and make a shield. I practiced them in a completely alien way to what he is talking about. The way he is talking about learning these skills and applying them in your life is being able to understand what your limits are and how you need to do your life to push through and make it your small term goals, because you build on those. Your easy ones, your short bursts of vermiculi or whatever that chemical's called, and then the stuff and the juice. Yeah, the juice. I'm never gonna be okay with that. It's just gonna be hard for me. What's it called?
The brain juice.
Your brain juice, but it's the good brain juice, the feel good brain juice. I can't remember the name of it.
The dopamine.
Dopamine, yeah. So you do that, and then that builds on the other things, and it allows you, when you're doing harder things, to have the delayed gratification mindset and know that there is something at the end that you're doing this for.
Yes. So, the grit to persevere. Some of the highlights out of that little section was perseverance is the most familiar version of grit. It's that day-to-day steadfastness. It's the kind of persistence that allows you to tough it out no matter what the circumstances is. Kick my teeth in, sing my praises, doesn't matter. I'm still here. And that's why he has a sign above his desk that reads, "Do the hard thing," and why the Navy SEALs trumpet "Embrace the suck" as their unofficial motto.
Mm-hmm. And it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Yes. Let's see.
That's my chair, by the way, that you hear every so often. There's no danger to anybody.
Yeah. When you think back over your life, you think about your proudest accomplishments, and now think about how hard you work to accomplish them. Sure, everybody gets lucky a few times. There's always a handful of occasions when you got exactly what you wanted without having to work very hard to achieve it. But those are memories are those the memories that brought you the most happiness? So
I replaced the word happiness with satisfaction.
Yes, I think
because
so.
in my past, it was not about the pursuit of a happiness or a betterness. It was
satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Yes.
Okay. Good. No. Okay. So, but usually it's the gritty hard work because we like that. And gritty hard work provides better long-term survival skills so we can tap into that drive and fundamentally change the quality of our life. But here's the rub. Even this version of grit is more nuanced than many suspect. When researchers tease apart persistence, they find 3 psychological traits: willpower, mindset, and passion. Again, there are no shortcuts. You need all 3 for sustained high performance.
Can't do them at the same time. Can't.
Yes. I think what I took away from this section for myself was this, and it made perfect sense when I heard it, because I was like, yep. Willpower is self-control. It's the ability to resist distraction, stay focused, and delay gratification. It's also a finite resource. And once I realized, like, okay, good. So scientifically speaking, it is proven that willpower cannot sustain you. And that's good to know. That's why I'm all about
willpower alone.
Yes, not willpower alone. That's why I'm a big fan of like engineering circumstances, like situationally speaking, so that I can kind of autopilot some things without having to use willpower as my grit to get through.
Some of the things about willpower can be easily mitigated. You want to quit smoking, so you create a new habit of chewing gum. Sugar-free gum so it doesn't hurt your teeth, blah, blah, blah. Whatever your rock and roll is, doesn't matter. But you are replacing a habit with a habit, but if you have an addictive personality, you have an addictive personality. You can't change that. You can only control how you
funnel
use it. How you funnel it.
How you direct
exactly.
it. And then also, if you're having to use willpower, then things like creativity will take a bigger hit. So like if we're low on energy because we're tired and because we've been using up our willpower, the creativity will take a bigger hit. When we're low on energy, we don't bother seeking far-flung connections among ideas. We take the easiest choice available, never mind the consequences. So if your body, which means if you're fighting the battle against lack of sleep, don't fight one over willpower at the same time. So make sure you're well rested. And making sure that, we can boost those energy levels with food. That'll help reset willpower, but there will always be some state shifting required. If you speak to peak performances about resetting willpower midday, they'll talk about eating, but naps, meditation, exercise are frequently mentioned as well. All of these interventions don't just reset our physiology. They shift our state and reset our neurobiology. And one of my favorite ways for grit is mindset. So I like to use the idea of, like working split shifts. I always tell myself,
fuck you! I'm sorry. That came from somewhere deep in my past.
Have an allergy? Is that
I think
the
I'm
allergy
allergic to split shifts.
Yeah. Well, right. But here's the deal. Sometimes I have to, and it's just the way I've had to do it. Sometimes I'm working more than one job, so like it feels like split shifts. But here's the trick that I've learned about split shift, and that is mentality. It's not that I'm working split days off. It's that I'm working very short work weeks, 3 and then 2. 3 and then 2. I'm not working 5 days straight. And if I focus on short work weeks as opposed to split days off, I'll tell you what, that is a lot easier to get through that period.
Yeah, perspective can be a huge
motivator.
Mindset. Yeah,
it's mindset. Yeah, it's a mindset. And when I need to tap into grit, I do a lot of like reframing, and then I do a lot of repetition on that reframe until I like believe it in my core. You can't just say the thing, you have to believe the thing too. So I just firmly believe that. As a matter of fact, when I went back to 5 days in a row, I was like, oh, I am really pissy on 2 of those days anyways, the Monday and the Friday. So like, what's the problem with split shifts again? Like, I mean, other than being able to plan longer activities, if I don't have that kind of going on, give me a 3-day work week, please, because by the time I get pissed off about it, it's over.
My friend has just told their previous supervisor, leader person got moved because they were not doing their job. And they just asked her last week if she wanted to go to 3 18s. 3 days a week. I
love that shit.
18 hours a day. And she said, yes, please. Gives me all the overtime I want. Doesn't change anything about the schedule I'm already working.
Yep.
All I'm doing is staying at work longer. Well, she don't give 2 shits about where she's at, home, work. Fuck, it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah,
so she's all in, and I think that's great.
3 18s,
she's going to be burned out.
No, because 3 18s, because you have 4 days off. I used to do a shift where it was 2 16s and an 8. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. 40 hours on the dot. 4 days a week, I didn't have to worry about anything else. And during those,
and that 8-hour day felt like it went
so fast.
Yeah.
And my days off, my kids were in school, so I got all this time to myself.
Wow, best of both worlds.
It was amazing.
I realized I started.
It was while my kids were teenagers, so it was even more amazing.
I started realizing that since I moved into this apartment, I have effectively been using the things we're talking about right now, just not knowing it. This month, this is my 5th month here, and this is the first month that I have not borrowed any money from anybody for anything yet. I still have $37 in my saving or in my checking account and $19 in my savings at halfway through the month. And I have never been in that position before. So my mindset was that I wanted to be able to try and make it at least break even, so I didn't have to feel like I have to take whatever job comes up because I got to have the money. So I've spent my time focusing on reducing my bills and doing what I can to change that. And this is the delayed gratification, the payoff. I see this now at 5 months. My first month, it said you're $300 over. The second month, it says you're $230 over. The third month, it said I'm $100 over. So I could see the progress. And now this month, I'm in a positive so far. Will I make it all the way through the month? I don't know, but it's going to be goddamn close, and close enough that I can see the results of my efforts.
I love that.
Whereas when I started this in January, when I moved in here, it was like, well, I could always find another room somewhere else if I can't make the bills. That's not my attitude anymore. Now my attitude has completely changed into what I can do to just maintain what's going on. So I'm pretty excited about seeing things like that exampled in here. If I did it when I wasn't mindful of the steps, how much better will I be while I'm being mindful of the steps and the processes involved?
Yeah. And a lot of that is, I mean, like right now you're practicing very insightful self-talk, because you kind of talked us through how you were like, instead of like living in this place of lack, like I only have, you really walked yourself through like this positive sort of progression, and you are really exemplifying grit in, like, you had this passion and purpose to do this thing, and then you had this grit to kind of control your thoughts, and you are able. I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, so
That's okay.
this is again tiring. So the self-talk, I think, is really on point. Instead of thinking this sucks, I can't do this, I can always move into a new place, you are like, no, I'm going to choose to be here. This is a direct quote. Positive thoughts are, I choose to be here, I got this, and I can definitely rise to the occasion. And not only have you had that sort of positive self-talk, but you've also done the thing, which means you're exemplifying grit to be able to get from point A to point B, regardless of how, regardless of what that was. Like being in the positive.
This was such a good chapter for me to go through in demonstrating to myself that, like, I didn't hear all the dopamines and ketamines and teflopamines and all the stuffs. I didn't in this chapter. I know he talked about it because he even mentions in there, I have to talk about this. I know I'm talking about neurochemistry, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't get hung up on it like I have in previous, because now pieces are coming together. And
you have gratitude because you've been able to kind of change that filter from the altering your brain's negativity bias, essentially training it to take in more positive information. I am in the positive.
Yeah.
Monetarily and in your thinking. So all of this, like, you may have switched that balance book a little bit, but also you have switched your actual thinking to the more grittier thinking of positivity and peace and love. And listen, I don't like modern media has really just sugar-coated what positivity is. And I think I've harped on this before. I will harp on it again.
You should. It's worth harping.
It's worth harping. You can't go. You can do whatever you want. I'm not the boss of you. However, it's less effective to go from, less useful to go from, I can't do this to I've got this, than it is to be like, I can't do this to there are parts of this that I'm able to do, to people do this and I'm a people, to I'm going to take steps to do this, to I've got this.
That's excellent. You just explained it way better. That's in my head what I went through, but I couldn't articulate it like that.
It's a thought ladder, and I learned the concept from others, but it's a thought ladder, and it's how to step yourself from a negative thought to whatever neutral thought you can believe. And I gave several examples, right? But you've got to be specific, and you change it to a neutral thought, something that you can believe that doesn't make you feel ick. Sometimes with like the power of positive thinking, sometimes being told to think a positive thought gives me the ick, just like,
oh yeah,
the ick. But I can neutralize my negative thought to something that is just what it sounds like, just in neutral, where it's just a statement, and I don't have an emotional charge behind it, whether it's an ick or just feeling down on myself or any of those things. Just neutralizing it, and you play around with several different ones until you find one that's neutral, and then you practice that one, and then you try to make it just a little bit more towards
and cutting
the
back
side.
did get it done, Robbie. I want to mention that. Yes, cutting back does get it done, but it's more than just that, because I've not been flush for 5 months. This is the first time it even looks like I have an opportunity to be flush and not have to borrow any money from anybody. We don't know that for sure, but
well, let's just take that statement. Let's just thought letter that statement, because cutting back sometimes is a very emotionally charged thing to do.
Can be.
I have to cut back in order to survive.
I had to stop subscriptions I had to my friends' channels on YouTube in order to cut back some things. There was an emotional connection to that, because I felt me, not what they were saying. I felt I'm abandoning my friends. I'm not showing my support for them anymore. which is completely untrue. It's a thinking error.
It's a distorted thinking. But if we were to take this cutting back gets it done to something that's a little bit more neutral. I am moving towards less expenses. I am.
It's not very specific. Yeah.
I am trying to be more flush. So I am choosing where my money goes. By choosing where my money goes, I still can support my friends in other ways.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I've been doing.
And so you're really just kind of moving it to, instead of cutting back, you're trying to move it to, I am focusing on what I need with my finances. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that you're cutting back or so again. But
that's just one of the ways that we can self-sabotage. And thankfully this time I didn't get caught in that.
Yeah, because it's really easy to be in that sense of lack or scarcity where you're like, oh, I don't get to do anything fun. Instead, you're like, I have $37 and I am so stoked. And you know what I have? I have $19 in my savings on top of that. Have you ever been in the spot where you try to ask if you can withdraw that $35 that you need to be able to keep your account open? Can I just borrow it for a week? I just need that $35 for a week. Well, you have to shut down your account. Well, I can't shut down my account, but can I just borrow that $35 for a week? I've literally been there. I'm looking at my bank account and I'm like, well, it says I have $47, but I know 35 of it has to stay there forever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But anyway, I think you did a really good job. And again, yeah, and it's about instead of saying you're cutting back, you're choosing what is an absolute necessity. And that is a great, Robbie, right there. Bing, bing, bing. That is a great thought ladder. Is to go from, I've created a net positive. So I'm cutting back. I'm choosing absolute necessities. I am making sure my bank account is flush.
Mm. I had to trust my friends. No one disappointed me, by the way. And I had to trust my friends not to get mad at me for canceling my 99-cent subscription or membership to their channel. And guess what?
All of the
Nobody
19 people.
gave a fuck.
All of the 19 people that Richard cut his 99-cent subscriptions to, I just want you to know he now has $19 in his savings account.
My savings account.
All 19
but that's
of
the
them.
kind of thing that a year ago I wouldn't have seen a small incremental change of doing something, and it's not successful in February or March or April or May. And then we're into June and maybe. But that's, I'd just been, see, it didn't make a fucking bit of difference. I still ain't got no money.
Yes, but instead you were like, 37, 19. I did the thing.
Yeah.
Did the fucking thing. And that's awesome. I think that's something we all need to remember, especially like me. Like I just looked at what is possible for my finances working both of these jobs. And it made me a little less tired because I was like, oh, look, I could pay my rent with one round of paychecks.
You got it.
As opposed to having to save money from one paycheck to be able to pay the rent for the next paycheck. Like, that is the most stressful thing.
Yeah. Rob Peter to pay Paul, but however you want to say it, it's the same thing. And that's Jimmy C brought it up, and that's what I was laughing at. I've written an IOU to the ATM, and the bank didn't like it, but it put gas in the tank for the week. Yeah. I have at times made that choice in the past. I got to have gas, so I'm going to overdraw my account.
I'm like, there is this one gas station that only authorizes $1 at the pump as opposed to authorizing $100.
That's unusual anymore.
Oh, you can't find it anymore with EMV pumps. You cannot. But I'd be like, all right, I'd run my thing all the way down till the light came on, and then I'd run that thing so I could make it to work for the next week. It's like, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. And this is we we are not the audience that this book is looking for, but I am still I still find so much value in this, and it gives me that like something to look forward to too, like to this point of like when I feel this, it makes me feel good about what I'm already doing.
I disagree with what you just said.
Oh,
I think this book is written for people just like us, and this is for people just like us. I think the difference that you are making is a thinking error in that it automatically matters. Money matters because he said 70. If we just ignore that, like you've been encouraging us to do, this is for everybody because this can benefit anybody.
It is.
Sorry, I wanted to push back.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. We are not the intended audience.
That I will leave alone.
We are not the intended audience for this. Yeah. But I think that it is very, very important. My dogs agree.
Shut up.
It's vital. It's very vital and important for people like us to expand our brain into things that maybe aren't intended for us. Mm-hmm. I think that is very, very important. And to not think that
100%, Jimmy.
Because we're living day to day, we can't be considered high performing. Because
exactly.
I think, again, it's like these shifts. Are we surviving or are we high performing? Is the real question. And I think in so many ways, we are high performing.
Mm-hmm. Even if we're not, I can see the correlation between getting to the point of being financially okay or being able to relax on that by doing the steps and the hard things and making the choices. And then suddenly you find yourself flush and then you get the job or you do the thing, or that's when things can start to accelerate and really change. And then it starts to fit the focus of this book and its intended audience for you personally. But you have to get to that point. And I'm using this to get to that point instead of to move beyond that point.
And Jimmy says we learned all this stuff the hard way. And I think that, yes, a lot of this is identifying what we've already know about ourselves. But I think it's important to like explicitly identify. Because we can all know, I pulled up my big girl panties, pulled my bootstraps up, and I got shit done because I had to. But when you stop and you're able to look and be like, that is not just me surviving. That is me building a skill set that I can then apply to going further as opposed to being exhausted because I'm doing this again. Because I think it's really easy to fall into that. I see people around me doing it all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure Jimmy C is not one of those. I'm sure Indy is not one of those where they're like, oh, it's got nothing ever. I have to work for everything. And it's like, we all do. We all do. And when we reach a certain point of success, then you work for more success. It's
you
just
work
what we
for
do.
More success.
That's what we do as humans. And whatever that success definition is to you, you get to a comfortable point that the potential is a moving finish line. It will always be a moving.
Absolutely.
And the only way to enjoy that moving finish line, regardless of where you are in your life, regardless of your age, regardless of your hardships, it pays to stop and be like, what do other people think about this? Mm-hmm. And not just get an opinion of your immediate peers and your friends and your family, but to be like, what is the science on what I've been doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is the science of grit? And when you realize that CEOs and all these people, whether you aspire to be them or not is not the point. But let's face it, when you're in a certain economics point, you're like, oh, rich people, right? Mm-hmm. But when you realize that these rich people are also...
Jack. Good to see you, brother.
These people are also pushing themselves. Then you realize, oh... these are struggles here. These are struggles. Oh, this is a human thing. This is a human thing, and I can push myself, and I can find the joy and the passion and the curiosity and the purpose behind it, regardless of the financial payoff, regardless of what status payoff is, because there's other things that are paid
intrinsic
off,
values.
Your very being becomes more satisfied with the effort that you're putting forth, as opposed to, I'm doing this just to get by, just to survive. And I think that's a great conversation about your self-talk. It's a great conversation about mindset and reframing and all of these things, because the people who are present chat excluded, because you are clearly big-minded people because you're here, but think about the people around you who just cannot be satisfied. Dogs, also a 4-letter word.
I don't know.
That was dogs. That was dogs plural, because when there's 2 of them, they are atrocious.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, nothing. I was just seeing. I saw Jimmy was correct in what he said. That's actually that's exactly how I read what your original message said, even though your words were not the same. That is what I read.
I was like, why did he say that twice? It's so obvious. First,
see, he said, you did the same thing. You read it exactly that way the first time.
Our brain's amazing. Our brains will always. This is why witnesses are the worst when it comes to crimes.
Way worse.
Because our brains just fill that in. Do you see the difference there? It's literally 1 letter, but also I just filled in word there. And so when he wrote that, I was like, why is he? Okay, so he wants us to bring it up. Yes, life is a 4-letter word. Got you. We're here, Jimmy. We hear you. Oh,
see, so nice I wasn't the only one, Jimmy.
So nice you said it twice.
When you said, it was almost like validation when you said, why'd you say that twice, Jimmy? I'm just telling, as I'm telling him, I read it that way the first time. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Anyway, our brains are amazing. Yes, hello. Hi.
They are. Little angel. Let's see. Is she on your lap?
No, she's headbutting me because I think she's wanting me. Yeah, she wants me to go play, but she'll get over it. She'll entertain herself.
That is a cat. That is a dog.
Oh yeah, she plays fetch the whole night. We were just before the show started. That you can see the little tiny pokey black thing right there in front of my finger. That's about the size of a wand. All right, take care, Indy. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Indy. Oh, also, I really want to start having memberships and super chats and fun stuff like that. So I'm trying to get up to 500. Just saying. And I'm sure Falco, are you trying to get to 500 too? Because 500 is a magic number.
Well, it is now. It was 1,000 before, and yes, I already made it. So
you already made it.
That. Yep, I already made it last year.
Well, then,
because that's
tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Yep. That's why we share. That's why you share it out.
That's why you share it out. You give it a thumbs up. Do all those stupid things. I mean, they're not stupid. But
so here's an example. I am permanently notified of this show. The reason for that is not because I'm going to forget the show is on, but because I want to go grab the chat and be able to have the chat from the show to read. That's my preference. I did not get a notification of this show today. She's got them scheduled for way out there.
Not.
And I've got
no Chad.
And I've gone all of them. But no, my point is that I go to all of them and click turn notification on individually on each video, and it still doesn't work. So sharing matters, because when you share it out, your friends are more likely to see that if their notification got kiboshed by YouTube. YouTube can say what they want, but I saw it today. Here, let me open up my notifications. Haven't refreshed it. No notification for this program is on my notification list.
So share to your friends so they remember.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's worth sharing. That's why when I'm in chats, I tell other people to share. I don't care if you subscribe. I don't care if you donate. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. That the sharing and the liking are the two things that
Sharing
make the
is
biggest
caring.
difference. Yes.
Sharing is caring.
Anyway, soapbox mode off.
Well,
I
you
am
know,
a much happier human being for having put myself into this, 2.5 months ago or so, whenever we first started talking about this 3 months ago. I know, something like that.
This book in particular, or
This
just our
book in
talks
particular, yeah. We were talking 6 months ago, just before I started moving to here.
I don't know. I'd have to look and actually count it. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
And folks, we are. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's been a while since I've held the hard copy up so that you could see how much we've progressed.
We've actually made it quite a way in this book.
So yay for those of you who have hung on. Also, if you don't want to buy the book, even though I highly recommend the book in audio version or in hardback like I do, or both, as I have, because there are just some things.
Yeah, like if you want to be a complete and total geek, you can be like Keri. Oh, wait.
Listen, if I could afford it, I would buy the soft covers of this book by the case and send it to you, friends, because it is that fucking worth it. If you cannot, please go look on YouTube for Stephen Kotler. A lot of his talks are to things like Google and things of that nature, Mind Valley, all over the place. He did a lot of really long form podcasts. If you can handle Joe Rogan, he's on Joe Rogan. It was actually a really good interview.
That was a hard. It was a really good one, but it was a hard because I'm not a Joe Rogan fan. Okay. If I'm ever in the same room with Joe Rogan and he's having a show, I'm probably gonna be like, shut the fuck up.
Which is why I said it like at a mumble. But here's the deal: I found an Aussie guy that interviewed him. His talk.
Oh yeah, there's
between him and Jason Silva is amazing because they're both really woo 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 woo. Yeah.
Fun.
All right.
Fun.
You need that is a good book. That is a good book, Jimmy C. But you gotta step up.
The Pelican Brief.
Step up.
One of my favorite Grisham books.
You gotta read 2 books at a time. You gotta read 2 books at a time.
2? What the fuck? When I was reading, there'd be 4.
Yeah.
When I was reading physical books and had rows of books upon shelves in my room.
You have the one for the entertainment. You have one that's easy reading in case you're in a highly stimulating place and you want to just be able to stare at something before there was phones for us to, scroll through.
Yep.
There you go. There's the Stephen Kotler at Stephen Kotler Official on YouTube. Also, the Flow
Thank you,
Research.
Auntie.
Flow Research radio is a really great one to listen to in the background. I absolutely love it. Let me pull
He talks about these principles and the stuff that's in this book in so many different ways, in so many different interviews, and so many different things. You don't need, I encourage you to get the book, but you don't need this book to find and learn everything he talks about in this book. It's all already out there for free if you look a little bit. And Andy Atjack just gave you an excellent starting place if you're interested at all.
Yes, and this is another one. Flow spelling is hard. Flow Research. What am I? I'm supposed to be searching. Oh, I'm searching in my Google.
Whoopsie.
Listen. Thinking is hard some days. My willpower is low. Flow Research Collective Radio. There it is. It's right here, and it is right here. This is their full podcast on their YouTube. Let me. Come on, my computer does not.
Yeah, it's okay. I was enjoying that, but what I was enjoying most was I pictured Andy Adjack sitting at his computer going, Keri's going to try and put up a link. I could have already been done. I could have done it again. Oh, look, she finally got it out there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's so fast with the links. So fast. Thank you so much for being who you are.
There we go. Nope, that's not the right one.
That's not the right one. Oh, I love this space. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Listen, I got there. Right, here we go. I got it.
You get it?
Ah!
Look at that, the popcorn. Perfect timing. Oh, I love you, brother.
I have it itchy. It's just a tiny itch. Maybe two of them.
Awesome. Maybe two of them. Yeah, that's
Maybe
good. We like to have fun. We
All
like
right,
to have fun.
So there is that. In that, they have their podcast if you want to listen straight through, but they also have like their videos of all the things and all the stuff.
There's
shorts.
so much.
There's all sorts of things. Also, and they bring in all sorts of other experts. The neurobiology of breath, superpowers of longevity, art and flow, the neuroaesthetics revolution, which
that sounds like something I don't ever want to listen to. But that's,
Flow's frequencies, what brain scans tell us about creativity, caffeine boost, does that boost flow state, unleashing flow in business, building a
now
high
that one
flow
might
culture.
be interesting. Caffeine. I like caffeine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
Leadership as a behavior. What else we got here? Growth from adversity, hacking resilience, exponential optimism, cultivating a longevity mindset. Those are just some of the titles. So yes.
Yeah, you can find something
things.
for you there. There's gonna
Everybody
be
can find something.
whatever you're interested in. And I like to think that what we're doing here is showing people what can be done. I don't know anything I'm doing about any of this. I've never done any of it before. I've never read a single self-help book in my entire life. Ever. Not once.
Mm-hmm.
I've just gone to work and done whatever the day sent out to me. So I like to think that we're showing not just this is the thing to do, but just the path.
No, these are just things to do.
You can follow a path doing some of these things. So, see, I like Terry Brooks' fantasies too. The Elfstones,
like
the Shannara, and Keri Richard's good too. See, we're all reader. The thing is, Jimmy, I've not ever been into this, and you don't have to get deep into this. I do because that's me. I got interested, and then I needed to do something to change my life. This became the methodology I chose to try and use, and I try and stay as shallow in this shit as I can. Let me promise you. I try and stay as shallow in there.
Don't you want to unlock cognitive superpowers after 50?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm 61 and I'm learning new shit.
They have an episode for that.
I don't think I need that episode. I think I got this. Oh, wait.
No, you nailed it. You nailed it. But I thought it was fun. So the last little section, back, we're at
There's no shallow end. Sorry, go ahead. That was a good one. There is no shallow end.
Ooh, this is one that I want to listen to. I might have to put that on my watch later. What ties choices and human behavior together?
Nice.
It's emotion. Ha, ha, ha. That's a spoiler alert. It's your emotions. You have to have emotions in order to make decisions. Just have to decide which emotions you want to have and what value set. Anyway, the grit to recover. What did you think about the grit to recover?
It's hard to make yourself take a break sometimes, especially if you are motivated by your momentum and your results and your things, and you feel like if you stop, that's all going to end. Or you have to start all over again to get back to that same level. That's a thinking error.
Yes. What did you think about the difference or the juxtaposition of passive and active recovery?
That I thought was interesting. I do passive recovery more than active recovery, but I think I'm missing pieces by not using both forms of recovery. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely you need both forms of recovery. Like, I mean, passive recovery is TV and a beer,
right?
Or TV and a joint, or whatever.
Which is what I do most of the time. If you want to look at it that way, that's my chosen norm.
Yes, but if you could, a couple days a week, interject some breathing exercises, you know, a walk, do some sort
Something
of
I need to do anyway.
right. Do 3 sessions of something, you know, instead of doing, because like you can unplug, and I think that unplugging is essential. And if you can just replace one of those unplugged times with a more active recovery where you have like the phone off and you're just doing like a contemplation exercise of some sort where you're just like, or a mindfulness thing where you're just kind of watching. It's like active meditation, right? Where you're just watching your brain.
If you like watching waterfalls or leaves blowing in the breeze,
and just observe what your brain is doing during that time. Another good one is like if you do tapping. You can do tapping stuff. And it's like
I've never tried that. I would feel like I had a tick.
But there's like a way to do it, and it's like meditative, but it's more active.
I guess I have done that with migraines. I guess I have used that with migraines to help. Yeah. I stand corrected. I wasn't thinking about that.
You can actually get like little affirmations. Only use the ones that you believe. And
right.
Like, there's actually like a pattern that you can do, and it helps to like move your energy around your body, and it helps like with this recovering thing, you know?
Yeah, Jimmy,
sometimes
that's your
the whole
reset.
weekend
That's
of camping
your rest.
is stressful. But yeah, if you do
only
like
when you come home and you got to clean everything up after you get home. Like the tent was rained on for half the week, and so it's muddy. And so you got to not only bring it home and dry it out, but you also have to wash it and then sweep it and then vacuum it. And oh my God.
Or buy a new tent the next time you
go.
Or
buy a new tent. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but a weekend of camping in the woods, if it's warm enough out, I always challenge myself, like, can I just bring a hammock and a small thing of food?
To have a one-man tent. I
do that.
I don't have my camping setup is yep. I can carry it it's in a little bag. That's my whole camp setup.
Yep. If you can make camping be less work when you come home, that makes it a lot better. I'll tell you what. I took my trip. I have my 2 little bags that I brought still sitting out, and I'm like, I've tripped over them 3 times. I should
probably do something about that.
But we had a great trip. And it was a great amount of recovery for me. I really needed that and that connection with my mom and my daughter. We got to talk some business stuff. We realized that we don't have the PayPal set up. So if you have emailed us, I apologize that we haven't like gotten right on that, but we realized we thought we did. It did. Anyway.
It's a work in progress. Be patient. And you should drop that link before the end of here. You should drop the link before the end of the show.
But
I know it's not completely ready, but there's some cool stuff on there. I've already found something I want to buy someday.
Oh, there you go. Okay, where is that link? I don't have it.
It's worth putting out there. And while she's getting that, I want to tell everybody that's out there thank you, because I'm going to remind her that we're just past an hour now. So
we are, which that big yawn meant it's past my nap time.
And she's already tired. And, you know, that whole thing we were talking about, recovery. Yeah, it's time for her to do a little recovery.
It really is. I have, and I'm gonna do some fucking passive recovery. I'm not gonna lie. I've got a chocolate cake.
You got a chocolate cake.
I do. Oh. Well, okay. So we make this really great dessert at the new job that I have, and it's a s'mores. Okay, this is really fancy s'mores. It has like this chocolate mousse exterior, and then it has this maple cream ice cream in the center. And then it gets this marshmallowy meringue on top, and we burn it with the torch, right? So it gets that toasty.
God!
And it gets a graham cracker in it that's been dipped in chocolate, and then we put it under this glass dome that we have jetted smoke into, so a nice cherry wood smoke into with a little tiny smoker. We put it over the top, so the servers take it out, covered with this glass dome, and they take it to the table and they pull the glass dome out.
Oh, wow.
Smoke
it's like it's an experience as much as it's in a dessert. That's
you don't have to go camping, sir. You can have the best s'more ever. Anyways, it is
That's awesome.
Delightful. We had a couple of mistake s'mores. And I volunteered to make
darn, somebody screwed that s'mores up. That pissed me off. So that's awesome. That is awesome.
So-
But go
so that
look
is-
at Rocks and Roots. That's really, really cool stuff.
Yes.
There's neat things there. I highly recommend
we
it.
have rocks.
And come back here next week.
We come from roots. We come from the water. I 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 come from the water. Yeah, I can't start that without finishing it.
It's like that other song that Kukla, Fran, and Aller used to sing.
Yeah, anyway. Toadies. I come from the water. And stuff. All right, Richard. Until we meet again next week.
Yes.
And next week, we're going to
fun.
be talking about the habit of ferocity. And the word habit is one of my 4-letter words. But there's so much good that comes from habits.
It depends on the context of said habit. Just saying.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But habituating behaviors so that you don't have to use as much willpower to do it is important. But that's a short, habit of ferocity is a short little chapter, and then we get into part 2.
I'm most likely going to be burning through that and right on into 2 because
Right into part 2,
it's
which
so
is
short.
Yes, and learning. This is my favorite section of the whole book. I'm not going to lie. The ingredients of impossible, growth mindsets, and truth filters.
Well, he set basically the way I see this. He set all the bases are set now. You know what all the playing fields are. Now, you start putting the players in place.
When we start like strategizing on the game, right? Strategizing the game, the ROI of reading, the return of investment on reading. Let's see. Oh, and he maths it out too. Blogs, 3 minutes gets you 3 days. Articles, 20 minutes gets you 4 months. Books, 5 hours gets you 15 years. And what are we talking about? Well,
I don't know. I'm not going to be Bubba's bitch. That's all I'm going to say.
You'll just have to. He's talking about the return on the investment of the time in which you spend reading. You can read a blog and get 3 days worth of knowledge. You can read an article and get 4 months worth of knowledge. Or you can read a book for 5 hours and get 15 years worth of knowledge.
Because you'll reference back to that reading material for that long.
And it's the amount of time and effort that the person who wrote said blog, article, or book put in. You get to absorb their efforts. So they put 15 years worth of efforts into a book that takes 5 hours to read. And we both have the face like as we're reading Auntie's comment.
Right? Oh my God, that's awesome. That's awesome. Work release. Sign this. Awesome. See, that's the kind of wit that it's a natural talent he has. So we like it. Oh my goodness.
And Robbie said he's been here since the beginning. Oh, before we go, can we just talk about Robbie's song for a minute? Which one? Which one you're wondering? Well, it's the one, let me look at the name.
He has a couple of them.
He has a few. Just a handful. A small handful on his channel. Small handful. Nope, I am talking about Wild Town. Such a good song, Robbie. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I remember to comment on it, but I remember thinking I need to comment on this because it's one of my favorites.
I think you did.
Did I?
You did comment. I think so.
Okay. Well, I really meant to if I hadn't. But anyways, It was very, very good, Robbie. Thank you very much. Feel free to throw that link in the chat for everybody.
Or your latest. Or
your latest. Or whatever.
We're coming to the end of the show, so might as well get the shares out there.
Get the shares out there. Hit the shares. And don't forget to go to Jimmy C's channel, then listen to the hijinks and hoopla that he does. This right here. This is the money. 5 not so easy steps for learning almost anything.
Cool.
I fucking love it. Fucking love it. The 5 books of stupid. Step 2, be the idiot. Step 3, explore the gap. Step 4, always ask the next question. Step 5, find the narrative. It's so good. Once you read it, you're just like, I need to learn almost anything. I need to learn almost everything. But like, it is like, what? I guess like, I identified with that section because it's kind of how I was doing things. And then like, here's like this very intentional roadmap. And I'm like, oh, I can take what I'm almost doing and like cut it down to like half the amount of time. And I love that. I love that because it's like, how do I figure out where my curiosities lie? Right here. 5 steps of not so easy steps for learning almost everything. And you can kind of like it takes a little bit of time, but you can definitely get through those 5 steps in 6 months to see if like it's something that you want to do, you know? So I love that. I love that. I'm a geek about that. I need to go back to school.
Yes,
but anyways, I am in school. I am in the school of the Falcro right now, and we are learning all together.
School of the Falcro.
I'm also in the school of learning about the chat. We are here together. We are here every Monday at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to set your notifications. Do the subscribe thing. Keri's trying to get to 500. And we will see you next week.
Yes.
We will see you next week. With a period. Not a question mark. Maybe an exclamation point. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week.
With authority. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
The night says hello with the soft glow. We could go out on this talk show. Stories shared and secrets low. Time to linger, but we gotta go. Voices faded with the moon's call. Laughter echoed down the hall. Thoughts that flew like paper dolls. Wrap it up and let it fall. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. In the quiet, hear the clock tick tock. Words won't stop, but we'll walk the walk. Dream a little till the next talk. Out of time, let's unlock. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. In the quiet, hear the clock tick tock. Words won't stop, but we'll walk the walk. Dream a little till the next talk. Out of time, let's unlock. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. With open minds, now we drift on the book of fine. Page by page until we bind. Sweet goodbyes, let's unwind.